What's up, Jets fans? Welcome to the latest edition of Jets Latest, where you get the latest on the Jets, Jets. I'm your host, the spitting statistician, Dane Martinez, and it has been a big week for the Jets. We'll talk about it a little bit more at the end, but signing Garrett Wilson, signing Sauce Gardner, it really feels good as we approach training camp, which is going to get going next week. And if you have been here on Jets Latest, you know that we are optimistic about the new regime. We'll talk about that. And one of the things we're also optimistic about is our new franchise quarterback, Justin Fields. Like, everybody knows about him as a runner. I've given you the stats, right? Literally only Michael Vick and Lamar Jackson have better kind of, 1,000-yard seasons, 100-yard games, yards per rush, things of that nature. The dual threat nature that he's going to be able to have now with an offensive line that was better than what he ever had in Chicago, right? So we expect that, but a lot of people have still been questioning Justin Fields as a passer. There's been reports in OTAs and minicamp that his technique looked good, that his footwork looked good, that he has been developing. But I want to make the point here. He has been developing ever since his rookie year. And in many ways, he has gone from being poor, let's say, as a passer in the NFL, at the NFL level, to being above average. Check this out, okay? His passing accuracy, completion percentage, as a rookie was 59%. That is not good in 2021. He went up to 60%, 61%. Then last year with Pittsburgh, 66% completion rate. Guess what? The league average was 65.3. So he was above league average. Passer rating, same kind of thing. Rookie year in Chicago, 73.2. That's not great. We'll acknowledge that. But it went up to 85.2, 86.3. And then last year with Pittsburgh, 93.3. What's the league average? 92.3. So he was above league average there as well. Look at this. How many of his drives wind up scoring points? Okay. As a rookie, 29%. Then that went up to 36%, 40%. And last year with Pittsburgh, 42.3% of his drives resulted in scores. The league average, 37.2%. Again, above average so far. And you know about the rushing stats, you know about his rushing yards. Here's the other thing that I thought was interesting. Last year, in 10 games, 6 starts, he only committed 2 turnovers in 387 snaps. 1 turnover for every 190 plus snaps as a quarterback. That is the third best mark among all quarterbacks in all seasons since 2021. So he took care of the ball, and he has been growing as a passer. Now with all this other extra stuff about how he's developing even better, looks even better, is being coached, has the organization that, believes in him and trusts him, that sort of thing. If he takes just another step like he has every single year of his career since coming out of Ohio State, he will go from the above average territory to the legitimately solid to good category, right? There are 32 teams in the NFL. To be slightly above average already puts you at what? 14th in some of those stats? You take another jump, we're threatening the top 10 in some of those stats. And when you combine that with his obvious elite dual threat capabilities, we are talking about a quarterback that could really be on the upward trend and poised for a breakout. And that's what he says here. He goes, my expectations for myself are higher than anybody else's expectations for me. And I think I've been improving each year I've been in the league. So I look to do the same thing this year. I've been playing this game for a long time. I know what I'm capable of. I'm just ready to get to work and get things going. And here's the other thing. He's going to have his alpha wide receiver from back in the day at Ohio State, Garrett Wilson, happy and on the outside, a target that he hasn't really had, okay? So things are really coming up good. I reference also Garrett Wilson and kind of how he signed. The other thing we've been talking about is Sauce Gardner and how he signed. And you know who's probably the most happy about that is Aaron Glenn. I have continued here on Jets Latest to talk about how Aaron Glenn and the Detroit Lions last year played man coverage over 60% of the time, the highest rate in the NFL. And now Aaron Glenn has the best cover corner in the league to be able to use in this way with his defensive scheme. But that's not all. It's not just the man coverage. Look at some of the other stats of that Detroit Lions defense who played a ton of man and didn't have a cornerback like Sauce Gardner. Look at what they were also able to achieve. I think there's a ton of stats out there that show that Lions secondary was really hard to throw on. Check this out. They allowed the second lowest completion percentage in the NFL last year. The Detroit Lions, 61.1. I just told you what league average was. I just told you what Justin Fields was at 66, right? That 61% is what Justin Fields was doing in the second year of his career when everybody said it was bad. That's what it is. It is hard to throw against the Jets. In the red zone, it gets even tighter. The lowest red zone completion percentage in the NFL. Only 39.6% of passes were completed against that Lions defense in the red zone. When things tighten up, it becomes even harder when you have that press man coverage the way that Aaron Glenn likes to play. Look at this, 4 red zone interceptions, 6 interceptions in the end zone, 4 when plays were starting in the red zone. Those are most in the NFL, 5th most picks in the NFL, 7th most pass breakups. And I tell you about me at FTN Fantasy, we have a stat called expected points added per play and per drop back. It's really for the offenses, right? So when you look at the defenses, you want that to be negative. And the Detroit Lions at minus 58.11 EPA and minus 0.085 EPA per dropback. That was the 3rd best and 2nd best rates in the league. The Detroit Lions were tough to throw against last year, and part of that was Aaron Glenn's scheme. I mean, the man was a Pro Bowl cornerback himself. He's playing man, and now he's able to do so with the best cover cornerback in the NFL in Sauce Gardner. That's why he identified a guy like Isaiah Thomas as well. That's why they went out and got Brandon Stevens, tall, lanky guys to play that scheme. So there's reason to be excited about Justin Fields on offense. And with Garrett Wilson, who just got the bag. There's reason to be excited about Aaron Glenn's defense, along with Steve Wilkes, who I've been talking to you about bringing more pressure and blitzing with fast linebackers like Sherwood and Quincy, right? Obviously, Sauce Gardner got the bag. And I think overall, if you can't tell the excitement that is building, a lot of it is because of just this new regime, this new leadership. Aaron Glenn and Darren Mosey are on the same page, and they have really transformed this roster. They keep on talking about the coaching staff. They keep on talking about the standard. They keep on talking about the building. And I think people are starting to feel that as we go into training camp. But I wanted to kind of crystallize what this complete reset has really been. Look at the things they have done now in this first offseason together. They extend Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, who were the rookies of the year on offense and defense when they came in, bringing in or maintaining those pillars, those cornerstones of the franchise happy. They had a great draft in a lot of people's opinion, okay? We talked about this, bringing in Armand Membu, Mason Taylor, A.Z. Thomas, Malachi Moore, Arian Smith, who they all have a vision for, who they all think fit in different ways, right? All have that leadership quality that we talk about. We've talked a lot about Mason Taylor, what he's going to be able to do at the tight end position. We've talked about how Armand Membu is that final piece of a great young offensive line. We've talked about what like Malachi Moore can do in that star position, being able to be so versatile. Arian Smith with that speed over the top, what he can add to the Jets offense, and why they haven't necessarily gotten a quote-unquote wide receiver too. But also, listen, from a culture standpoint, early on, moving on from Aaron Rodgers and committing to Justin Fields has really been a breath of fresh air in a lot of ways. Think about what Aaron Rodgers did kind of with that saga about when he was going to report to Pittsburgh and if he was going to come back and all that. The Jets didn't have that hanging over them. They cut bait early, committed to Fields, and have been, building that whole time. I've been talking about it with Muji. This roster turnover is the most in the NFL. They are bringing in their guys, stamping their culture, and it is a young roster, okay? It is the second youngest roster in the NFL. Only Tyrod Taylor is above 30 years old. You got other guys like Josh Reynolds, you got like the long snapper that's 30 years old, Hennessy, but otherwise there is youth at every position, even a kicking competition, a QB3 competition, a punter competition, for goodness sakes. It is a new day here for the Jets, and as we go into training camp, as these guys are going to report and start practicing next week, I really think this culture, this feel is starting to become palpable, right? Locking in kind of our all-pro talents, committing to Justin Fields, having guys that are young, hungry, and excited and being developed and taught by this coaching staff. As I've said before, and I will say again, are they going to necessarily go 12-5 this year? I'm not sure. But what I do know is that it's kind of a new turnaround is starting. If we as Jets fans can be patient, and we got a tough start to the season, right? I've told you that schedule. It gets tough at the very, very beginning with Pittsburgh and Buffalo and Tampa right out the gate. But as we continue to grow, I truly believe there's going to be some things here that we can be proud of as Jets fans with the arrow pointing up. As always, though, I want to get some of your comments involved. Thank you to everybody. We've seen good growth in this channel. A lot of positive things you guys have said in the comments about me, about the insights and information and stuff, and the optimism mixed with realism that I am bringing you. And I really appreciate it. And I want to involve you guys in the show some more. So here are some of your comments. We got Jim Sanders' photo, who's saying, I am a big fan of Justin ever since I lived in Columbus when he was playing for the Buckeyes. He has not had a team that has gotten behind him and utilized his strengths as of yet. The Jets are that team, baby. I agree. We talked about the second act. We've seen it with Goff. We've seen it with Baker, right? So we'll see if it happens with Justin Fields, but we are behind him. That's why we didn't sign a big-time free agent. We didn't draft a Shador Sanders or a Jackson Dart. This is the keys to the car going to Justin Fields. Kenneth B. Ken says, Justin Fields has a chip on his shoulder. The Bears didn't do anything for him. The Steelers benched him like a rag doll after a 4-2 record. The Jets are all in for him. Thus, he's going to make the previous teams regret it. With an elite wide receiver, monstrous running backs, the Jets are going to be 11-6. Now, listen, I officially predicted 9 wins for Jets latest here going into the schedule. We'll see how things come together. But even 9 wins get you on the fringe of that playoff. So we'll see about that. And then finally, MG8812 says, bro, I love your show. You get me excited each day, wanting and needing to watch some Jets football. Lastly, Fields, a.k.a. The Dark Knight Rises in New York. Be there. Go Jets. So as you can see, we are on the precipice of training camp, and there are people that are excited for Justin Fields, for this new regime, and the fact that we locked up our guys, something we could be proud of. And I am also proud of what you guys are saying, how we are growing Jets latest. So that'll be this episode. But remember, watch these videos, like these videos, subscribe to the channel. And if you're excited, tell a Jets fan friend to get down with Jets latest. I will be here every day bringing you the heat, bringing you the analysis, bringing you what people are saying in that building, and giving you stats to back it up. All right. But if you want to hear more from me, the spitting statistician Dane Martinez, I tell you all the time, check me out on social media at Spittin' Speeds. I love engaging with you guys. Also, I am the host of the FTN Fantasy Show over on SiriusXM Channel 87, the Fantasy Channel. We're getting ready for fantasy football drafts as well. I give you some of that insight and expertise. I've been doing it a long time, and FTN is a great website with all sorts of rankings, content, the Discord, tools, simulations, and great data to be a better fantasy player and a better sports bettor. And I'm also on Sports Grid TV. I'm the host of a show called In Game Live. At night, we go around the world of sports looking for live betting opportunities. If you want to dip your toe in the live betting water, then that's a great show to have with you as a second screen experience. We find opportunities for you to go ahead and bet it and win some cash. But if you are just locked into the green and white, I am here for you. I will be here from you every day during training camp, during the season, because it's going to be an exciting 2025 for the Jets, Jets. Hope you subscribe and tell somebody as we continue to grow this thing. But for now, we out of here. Have a great weekend training camp next week, all right? Peace.